Well, hello there, my friends. Welcome. So glad you are here tonight, this Monday night. You'll notice that a couple of things have changed on the channel. I'm trying to improve things here a little bit, here and there. Not any major changes. I want to keep us true to who we are. No major change, but tonight we're actually going to be looking at 3 separate cases, just checking the updates, seeing the status of where they are. But before we do, I want to say thank you so much to all of you who support me through YouTube memberships and through patronage over on Patreon. And it doesn't matter how you support me, by watching, by subscribing, by commenting, and then by being a patron or a member. It all means the world to me. Thank you very much for doing that. Now, before we get into the cases that we are going to talk about today, I actually have something that I want to show you guys. Let me do this. This is exciting. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Check this out.
Help! Anita, emergency now. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere. Please hurry. There's a knife sticking out of her heart. Oh no! Oh no!
It was January of 2011 when Greenberg was discovered dead by her fiancé. She suffered more than 20 stab wounds. Philadelphia medical examiner initially ruled Greenberg's death a homicide before switching it to suicide.
How was this ruled a suicide?
It just does not add up.
I have investigated stabbing suicides in my career, but I've never seen anyone stab themselves in the back.
Everyone realized how strange and twisted this case was.
We had been told there may have been a meeting. Information was shared that convinced the medical examiner to change from homicide to suicide.
I was shocked.
The medical examiner's office, the police department, the district attorney's office, all the way to Governor Josh Shapiro back when he was attorney general. These agencies consistently maintain their findings of suicide.
That was that.
So many errors happened in this case. You don't have investigation. You don't have a held crime scene.
That's not right.
Does the evidence match the story that we're hearing? Pretty much all of that is negative. It is our responsibility to find out the truth.
If you want to get away with a homicide, have it declared a suicide.
Death in Apartment 603. What happened to Ellen Greenberg? Only on Hulu.
I am so excited for this. I can't even tell you. I'm so grateful to the team who worked so hard to make this happen. I know that for one of the executive producers, it has been going on for about 3.5, 4 years now, and I'm so proud of her. She actually made an appearance over on Surviving the Survivor once, Laura Diamond. She has done amazing work. I am so proud of her and the entire team. And the world is now going to see on a major network the story of Ellen Greenberg, and I believe that it is going to cause people to lose their minds. So look for it on Hulu and Disney Plus on the 29th. It's just, what is that? It's a week away. And then I've been talking with Josh and Sandy, and they're going to be coming on. I think what we're going to do is we're going to record it during the day. I think we're going to do it October 1st because I am out of here on October 2nd, and October 1st happens to be Rosh Hashanah. No, I'm sorry, Yom Kippur. And, they need to celebrate that important holiday in the evening time. So I think we're going to record it during the day, and then we will play it and we will comment on it on my regular live stream that evening. So, yeah, I'm excited. What are you guys talking about over here real quick? Susan Lewis says, when I saw the title of this live, I thought of Henry VIII. Although he beheaded only 2 of his wives, well, Catherine of Aragon, he caused her to die early. So anyway, good to be here. That is funny. Meredith says this will have Sam as worried as Wednesday. Marie says, thank you for answering a question on Courtroom Confidential Sunday Funday. Yeah, I was happy to do that. I'm glad that they reached out. Josh's channel is amazing. I'm really, really glad that he has invited me on there a couple times. Okay, guys, what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about 3 husbands. And why don't we start here? We're talking about 3 husbands, all of whom are accused of murdering their spouses. That we're talking about Barry Morphew is accused in the killing of Suzanne Morphew. Brian Walshe is accused in the killing of Anna Walshe. And of course, Brad Simpson is accused in the killing of Suzanne Simpson. I thought because we've got a little movement on these cases, we would take them one at a time, just do a quick little catch up. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't get my Acrobat ready to go. I was so excited about the doc series that's coming out on Ellen that what'd I do? Let me just bring up a couple of these. Just so I brought some notes, and then I have a couple of, yeah. You guys are like, dude, Gavin, get your stuff together, will you? Okay, we're going to start with Suzanne Morphew. Let's talk about this case just a little bit, and then we're going to take a look at the update, and then along the way, we're going to grab your comments. So put GF in your comment so that I can find it on my end, okay? So Suzanne Morphew vanished on May 10th of 2020 in Chaffee County, Colorado. Her husband, Barry, was first arrested on this in May of 2021, but that case was dismissed due to prosecutorial misconduct. At that time, Suzanne's body had not been found, but her remains were located in September of 2023. They were identified just a few days later. In June of this year, a grand jury indicted Barry Morphew for first-degree murder. He was arrested in Arizona, later released. Well, we're going to get into that real quick. Doesn't really matter. So, yeah. The former 11th Judicial District Attorney Linda Stanley has been disbarred. That disbarment was upheld by the Colorado Supreme Court just this month, okay? So we've covered this case pretty well, I'd say. We've covered it pretty well, but basically what happened was we've got 2 people that are not getting along. They're not getting along, and Suzanne's having an affair. Barry, I'm guessing, is having multiple affairs as well. And one day, Suzanne sends a text message saying that she is done, that she wants a separation. That was on the 6th of May. On the 9th of May at 2:07 p.m., she sent a selfie to the person she was having an affair with. That was the last time that she is believed to have, or at least is known to have been alive. It was that same day that Barry Morphew toggled his phone into airplane mode. There was some weird activity on the truck. Barry then left the following day, which was Mother's Day, for a job out of town. And yeah, I mean, he just made up this story that he hadn't seen her, basically, is what it boiled down to. Now, after her remains were found, the coroner decided that she died by homicide of unspecified means, but when they did a test of her bone marrow, they found a tranquilizer. It was called BAM. It was a mixture of butorphanol, azaparone, and medetomidine. And then, of course, Barry had this whole, he was a deer farmer out east, and he had a tranquilizer gun. He had tranquilizer caps. He had all sorts of things. So the key evidence, the allegations were the BAM tranquilizer mixture in Suzanne's bone marrow, the tranquilizer equipment, and a dart cap recovered from Barry Morphew's residence, plus a needle cap located in the dryer. Then, of course, Barry's cell phone was toggled off and into airplane mode at several critical windows. There were significant message deletions. Of course, he didn't know that the truck that he was driving had tons of, recording abilities, and so its telematics showed irregular gaps in movements on May 9th and 10th. There was an alleged disposal of items into multiple trash cans while traveling for work. Of course, the motive theory was that Suzanne said that she wanted to leave, and evidence, and so maybe he just got angry at her. Okay, so he was indicted June 18th, 2025. He was arrested on the 20th. This is his second arrest, by the way. He was extradited from Arizona to Colorado, and bond was set at $3 million. Okay. So what we have here is, if I bring you over to Acrobat, please come up. Of course I didn't, because I didn't prepare it. Let me just fix this real quick. There we go. This is an article from a few days ago, the 18th. So what was that? Thursday, I want to say. From the Alamo Citizen, Barry Morphew has made bail and will be out of jail during his pretrial preparations. Remember, it was a $3 million bail. Morphew had been in custody at the Alamosa County Detention Center since June after being indicted. Let me bring this up a little closer. By a 12th Judicial District grand jury. Morphew is accused of the first-degree murder of his wife, Suzanne Morphew, who went missing in May 2020. Her remains were found in 2023 in a shallow grave off Highway 17 in Saguache County. During a status conference in early September, Morphew and his attorneys requested a lower bond condition. Chief District Judge Amanda Hopkins denied lowering the bond from $3 million cash only to the requested $500,000. Instead, because she saw that Morphew wasn't a flight risk, Hopkins modified the bond from a $3 million cash only bond to $3 million cash surety or property bond, meaning Morphew had only to secure $300,000 to be released from jail. So typically what happens is, in order to get a bond, you have to pay 10% of whatever that bail is, whatever that bond is. So he only had to raise $300K. As of Wednesday afternoon, so this was published last Thursday, Lieutenant William Squires of the Alamosa Detention Center confirmed to the Citizen that Morphew was in the process of signing paperwork and being fit with a GPS ankle monitor. As part of the stipulations of a pretrial release, Hopkins told Morphew that he is to be monitored at all times with an ankle monitor and isn't allowed to leave Colorado. I was just thinking about a horrible joke regarding Ben Fields. Oh, speaking of which, hey, there has been a new filing in the Judge Mullins case. Well, not specifically in the Judge Mullins case. It's in the federal civil case between Sabrina Atkins and Jennifer Hill and Ben Fields and the sheriff, the current sheriff. Used to be Mickey Steins, and now I'm blanking on his name. Doesn't matter. So we are going to be going over that, and we're going to have Elizabeth Jones back on Wednesday to do that. So if you're following the Kevin Mullins case, let me bring up Judge Mullins. Yeah, if you're following the Kevin Mullins case, Wednesday is when you're going to want to be here on the channel for a discussion with Elizabeth. And while we're talking, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. I posted about this earlier today on YouTube and on all my socials. I will not be doing a live stream tomorrow night, nor Thursday, nor Friday, because I'm doing training as a volunteer monitor for the Pennsylvania Prison Society. So this week is a little bit different. It's going to be pretty sparse. Basically, it's just today and Wednesday. But hopefully I'm going to make up for it. Okay? All right. Getting back over to Ye Olde Acrobat, David Beller, one of Morphew's attorneys, told the court the evidence of Mr. Morphew's innocence is substantial. That is far from him saying, my client is innocent. He's saying, oh, the evidence of his innocence is substantial. He said that Morphew has complied with court orders and been in constant communication with his attorneys since his first arrest in 2021. Though he moved to Arizona, Beller said Morphew's whereabouts, were always known to his attorneys. There were a number of criteria Judge Hopkins had to evaluate before determining a lower bond. She noted that there are several criteria in Morphew's favor that warranted lowering the bond, including the support of his family, namely his daughters and mother, and that Morphew does not have a criminal history. The charges filed in 2021 cannot be used against him because those charges were dropped. We're talking about the charges in, they can't be used against him in a hearing to lower bond. That's what that means. Hopkins said she does not believe Morphew will commit any offense if he is released and does not believe he would harass or intimidate anyone involved in the case. I would imagine that would be Suzanne's family. Hopkins said Morphew's ability to pick up and go and his ability to move around under the radar were factors that went against lowering the bond, but she did note that Morphew was consistent in his communication with counsel and that when he was arrested in Arizona, law enforcement found him quickly and he did not deny his identity when arrested. A protection order was issued preventing any contact with victims of the case. Hopkins did not limit contact with his daughters, so he can continue to have contact with his daughters. I didn't get a picture of him with his daughters, but here's Suzanne with the young ladies. The order prohibits Morphew from possessing firearms and ammunition and consuming alcohol and controlled substances. Hopkins said with a modified bond order, Morphew would have $300,000 on the line and would have a bail bondsman looking for him if he attempted to flee. Though the district attorney's office has stated it is prepared to go to trial, Morphew's attorneys said they are still going through terabytes of discovery. So the next hearing we have on that is a status conference on November 3rd, which I am going to add to my calendar right now so that I don't forget it when it comes. So Barry Morphew status conference. All right. Okay, so that is what is going on in the state of Colorado v. Barry Morphew. I don't know. I kind of feel like there are charges where bail is not appropriate, and one of those two charges that I can think of is murder. Now, of course, in Colorado, they'd say, well, it's not constitutional in our state to not allow bail. That's why we have bail so high at $3 million. But apparently what happened here was friends of his were able to raise enough money to come up with that $300,000. I wasn't able to say or see exactly how they were able to do that. I mean, did they put their homes on the line? Did they get mortgages or put them against surety? I don't know. I couldn't find any source that could credibly tell me how they raised that money, but raised the money they did. And Barry Morphew is now a semi-free man while he waits for his trial, which will probably be a long time away. So let's see what you guys are saying. Cooler by the Lake says, here's a novel idea. Divorce. Yeah, I don't know what happens to a person to basically, I don't know. I don't know what happens to a person that says to themselves, that person deserves to die. She's the mother of my children. I've professed to love her for years, but now that she's doing the stuff that I'm probably doing, I just can't have her around. I don't know what happens. So, yep, he is out on a $3 million bond. Louisa says, can't believe he was released with bail that people help fund, like fans of his, shaking my head. It's weird. It is absolutely 100% weird. Susan says, no criminal history other than, the dead wife thing. It's pretty funny. Wait a minute. I'm not sure what that is. Give me a second. I have to look something up. Oh. Okay, it says he's giving Fotis Doulos. I didn't know who that was, Meredith. I had to look him up. I had no idea who that was. You're way ahead of me. One Man's Trash says, I don't think he'll show up for court. I think he will end it all before he spends his life in prison. Well, I hope that's not the case. I don't wish that on anyone, and I would much rather have the satisfaction of a trial. Though, of course, we know that the likelihood of that, let's get his bean off here and get her lovely face. The likelihood of that of it actually making to trial is pretty low. I think we all know that. Before we go to the next case, guys, I want to just quickly show you, if you're new here, if you go to my website, gavinfish.com, which is linked down below, and you click on this little fishy icon right there, that will take you to the fish tank on Facebook. And that is where we hang out on Facebook. So there's always an open invitation for you to join us in the tank. We talk about all sorts of things, not just the cases that we're talking about here on YouTube. We talk about all sorts of stuff. So come join us over there. All right. Second case we're talking about today is the case, which order did I want to put this in, of the murder of Anna Walshe. Let me get these in the right order. Here we go. Okay, so let's bring up Anna Walshe. All right, you guys remember this case. We covered it here on the channel. This one is a gruesome real life horror movie from everything that I can tell. Okay. Let's see. Brian Walshe is a Massachusetts guy accused of killing his wife, Anna Walshe, in January 2023. Okay, the charges against Mr. Walshe. I couldn't find a mugshot, but this was a picture of him in his arraignment. Okay. He is charged with the first-degree murder of his wife, Anna. They're much happier in this picture. Misleading a police investigation, obstruction of justice, improper conveyance of a human body. He was indicted on March 30th of 2023 by Norfolk County Grand Jury. Now, as far as the evidence goes, just as a quick little primer here, here's the evidence. There's a digital search history. This guy. Guys, this is the poster child for Gavin's iron law of criminal mastermindery, right? We can all say it. Say it with me. If you believe you have what it takes to be a criminal mastermind, that is the evidence in and of itself that you do not have what it takes to be a criminal mastermind. This guy. So his digital search history includes phrases like dismemberment and best ways to dispose of a body, and can you be charged with murder if there is no body? And then other divorce-related queries. Some searches were allegedly not just from his computer, but also from his child's iPad. Beyond that, on January 2nd, he goes to Home Depot and he goes on and I'm giggling not because it's funny, but it's just so stupid. He goes and buys a giant list of cleaning supplies. There are tarps, there are buckets, there are mops, just all sorts of things that have to do with cleaning. When police searched their home, they detected blood in the basement. They recovered a broken knife. They recovered trash bags at a transfer station that contained a hacksaw, a hatchet, other blood-stained items and clothing. It had Anna's purse, her vaccination card, and DNA was positively matched to both Anna and Brian. Anna also carried a $2.7 million, well, multiple policies, but $2.7 million in insurance policies, naming Brian as the sole beneficiary. Brian, his story was that Anna left for a sudden work emergency. And of course, when police contacted work, her boss was like, no, that is not what happened. So, the defense is saying, well, Brian has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The defense is saying, hey, this case needs to be proven in court, not in the court of public opinion, not in the media. They have challenged the admissibility of digital evidence. Of course, those challenges have been largely denied. Key search history evidence will be allowed at trial. The defense has signaled an intent to request a change of venue due to the extensive media coverage. And then the defense also sought records tied to the Norfolk County investigators to challenge credibility. Brian Walshe, this guy, this genius, he was previously sentenced to 37 months in federal prison for art fraud because he was selling fake Andy Warhol paintings. I guess if you're going to choose an artist, one that might be a little easier to fake because of the media that he chose, not because of talent or anything. His talent was amazing, but the media he chose would be Warhol. But he was sentenced to 37 months in prison for that, and he was ordered to pay $475,000 in restitution. He was on home confinement at the time his wife disappeared, and the couple's 3 children have been in state custody since January 2023. And then we've got an update. We've got 2 pieces of information in the Brian Walshe case, and I think I forgot to open one up. Let me find it. Yeah. All right. Got 2 articles for you here. Let's come on over here. We're going to bring this up a little bit. This is from the 15th. Judge denies appeal to suppress key evidence in Brian Walshe case. The legal team for a Cohasset, Massachusetts man accused of killing and dismembering his wife returned to court on Monday. Brian Walshe, 48, was arrested and indicted, blah, blah, blah. In Norfolk Superior Court on Monday, state prosecutors said officials reviewed materials found on former Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor's phone. There's a federal order connected to the Karen Reed trial saying the materials should be destroyed by mid-October. Quote, we have completed our review and we are continuing our investigation with the U.S. Attorney's Office and recognize that's not a lot of information that we have for the court, but that's the extent of information we have for today, Prosecutor Lisa Beatty said. Prosecutors did not disclose exactly what was found. It's believed the information could affect several cases, including Walsh's murder trial. Freaking Michael Proctor. Quote, have you come to the conclusion that certain information supplied to you as confidential information should be turned over in these cases? The judge asked. All I can say is that we are in conversation with the U.S. Attorney's Office as a result of our review, Beatty replied. Also on Monday, the Supreme Judicial Court Justice Elizabeth Dewar denied an appeal made by Walsh's attorneys to suppress key Google searches found on his phone and 2 tablets belonging to his children. The searches include how long before a body starts to smell, how long for someone to be missing to inheritance, and dismemberment and best ways to dispose of a body. Walsh's attorneys claim police went beyond the terms of a consent agreement when searching the phone and tablet, but the justice said allowing the appeal would not facilitate the administration of justice. This reminds me, by the way, of the argument that Stephen Stern's lawyers made in his case that, oh, this is well beyond what he consented to. It was illegal. I thought it was a well argued point, but the court disagreed, and the court, being a learned doctor of laws instead of a schlubby guy in Western Pennsylvania, probably got it right. Okay, Walsh's lawyers can appeal this decision to the full Supreme Judicial Court. Walsh, whose trial is scheduled to begin on October 20th, is being held without bail in the Dedham, Massachusetts jail. Another thing to add to me old calendar, right? October 20th is when Brian Walshe trial to begin. All right. Added it to ye old calendar. And then I'm actually going to read a different article about that. Check this out. Brian Walshe stabbed in jail. Zoomy. This is from News Nation. Brian Walshe, a man accused of killing and dismembering his wife Anna Walshe, was stabbed in jail Thursday, weeks before his October trial is scheduled to begin. His lawyer told WBZ-TV Walshe was attacked by another inmate with a makeshift blunt instrument. Was he stabbed or was he hit with a blunt instrument and taken to the hospital? The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office said in a statement, the individual who was assaulted was conscious and alert and taken to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston for treatment. He was returned to our facility overnight. And then it talks about Mo stuff. I don't think it's really interesting that he was stabbed with a blunt instrument. Huh. That one's an interesting one. Let's see. Before we get to your comments here, one more thing, guys. I just want to do a quick little pitch for CrimeCod. CrimeCod is my full-on, you can click on the link here or any of the articles on my website. CrimeCod is my full true crime news website. We have a couple of terrific writers. I also write for it occasionally, but I really invite you to come and check out CrimeCod. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can actually sign up for the CrimeCod newsletter. I send that letter out de vez en cuando, so just every once in a while. It's not like a regular thing. It won't bog down your inbox, but it will give you information on what it is that we're talking about here on the channel, and it will give you some of the stuff that we're talking about on CrimeCod. For example, this one's actually local, pretty local to me, where a school bus driver got so angry at the children on the bus that he made them roll up all the windows and turned the heat on. It was 95 to 100 degrees in that bus. He was corporally punishing students. So anyway, check out CrimeCod. And with that, let's bring Anna's beautiful face back up here and see what you guys are saying about this case here real quick. Susan Lewis, love this guy's subtlety. Yeah. He should have done a search of how to get caught after killing and dismembering wife. That's what he should have done. Bulldog Mom, Gavin, completely random because you're a word man. Things that keep me up at night. Why is it pleaded and not pled or plead? It is actually both. The past tense of to plead is both pled and pleaded. You can use both. I had to look it up, I don't know, several months ago. But that is the case. Let's see if there's any other here. Yeah. Okay. Autumn saying if that would have been my kid's bus. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like this guy. He has some splaining to do for sure. All right. Okay, the third case that I want to bring us up to date on, I've only done one video on it in the past, and that is the murder of Suzanne Simpson. We did one video on this when it first happened. This is, again, like Anna Walsh's body has not been found. Suzanne Morphew's body was missing for a long time before it was found, and Suzanne Simpson, her body is still missing. Now I'm questioning myself, but I believe that is the case. Let me, yeah, her body's not been recovered. Okay, so charges against Brad Simpson. Here is Brad Simpson in one of the mugshots that has been provided to us. He is charged with the murder of Suzanne Simpson, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon causing serious bodily injury, tampering with a corpse, possession of a prohibited weapon in the form of an AK-47, unlawful restraint, assault, tampering with evidence, among other related charges. Bond is set at $5 million, and he is in the Behar County Jail down in Texas. Let's talk a little bit about key evidence, and let's bring up Suzanne Simpson while we do. Okay, actually, I've got a kind of a timeline of events here, but okay, on October 6th, 2024, Suzanne and Brad attended a party in Alamo Heights. By the way, the other thing that all three of these women have in common is they seem, at least, to be living a pretty good lifestyle, right? Like, this is a photo. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. This is a photo of the family home. I pixeled out the children's faces because they don't need to be involved in this, but they go to black tie events. This is a family that appears to be doing well financially anyway, right? Okay, so they attend a party in Alamo Heights. Witnesses report a fight. Later that evening, Suzanne calls her mother and a friend reporting Brad assaulted her. Her phone is disconnected afterward. Neighbors report screams near their home, and Brad is seen leaving in his truck. Following day, Brad reports Suzanne missing, like 24 hours later, almost, gives conflicting accounts of when he last saw her. Investigators begin tracking his movements and find surveillance showing him buying cleaning supplies. Oh, winner. He's buying cleaning supplies and disposing of items. Brad allegedly asks his business partner, James Cotter, to hide a weapon, which was an AK-47. Cotter later accused of concealing it in his home. By mid-October, extensive searches were conducted in landfills, wooded areas, and surrounding the Simpson property. No body was recovered. November 7th of 24, Brad Simpson was formally charged with murder and all the other charges. There have been all sorts of pretrial hearings and discovery disputes. The judges ordered deadlines for law enforcement to turn over all evidence. Probate proceedings cleared the Simpson home for sale. And then the trial is scheduled to begin next year, with pretrial hearings starting in 2026. And let's get to that here real quick, because that is the news coming out today. Bring you over here. Date set for Suzanne Simpson murder trial in San Antonio. The wheels of justice have turned particularly slow in the murder case against Brad Simpson, the Olmos Park husband and father, accused of killing his wife, Suzanne Simpson. After months of pleadings from his defense attorney to get the evidence that led to his charge, Progress has finally been made. In fact, a Behar County judge set a trial date for Simpson. After several hearings and motions from the defense, prosecutors have finally handed over the evidence investigators have compiled against Simpson. I don't know why it took them so long. That is something that should just be done. It's been a long time coming, with prosecutors waiting on information from the FBI, Olmos Park Police Department, the Texas Rangers, and all the other agencies involved in trying to convict Simpson for his wife's murder. Though even now, prosecutors say some of the reports are still missing, even from their records. Regardless, 437th State District Court Judge Joel Perez, Simpson's defense attorney Stephen Gilmore, and the Behar County Criminal District Attorney's Office agreed to move forward on a trial date. The judge has formally set the date of February 13th, 2026, for Simpson to argue his murder charge before a jury of his peers. That date is contingent on another trial being resolved before then. However, if not, it'll be reset for a later date. There's currently no public evidence anyone has seen or heard from Olmos Park luxury realtor Suzanne Simpson since October 6th of 2024. She was last seen arguing with her husband outside their $1.2 million home. That fateful night, say investigators, started at a party at the exclusive Alamo Heights Social Club, the Argyle. Witnesses say an altercation broke out there, and the Simpsons' daughter would later say Brad Simpson hit his wife in the face and slammed her against a wall. According to case records, Suzanne Simpson made several calls, including to her mother, reporting the assault after the incident. She then reportedly arrived at a friend's house at 9:25 p.m. Shortly after, her phone was disconnected, allegedly by her husband, so tracking her movements became increasingly difficult for investigators. The next time anyone saw Suzanne would be the last. A neighbor told investigators he saw Brad Simpson physically assault his wife. When the neighbor lost sight of them, he grabbed a flashlight and went to look. Once outside, the neighbor heard several screams from a wooded area near the couple's home, which he believed to be Suzanne Simpson. Brad Simpson was seen leaving in his 2019 GMC pickup truck shortly after and wouldn't return home for several hours. Why were the police not called? Arrest warrants for Simpson show a series of suspicious behaviors in the days after Suzanne's disappearance. He gave contradicting reports of when he last saw his wife, cycled his cell phone on and off, blah, 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 and unloaded a mysterious tarped load from the back of his truck somewhere in the Texas Hill Country while making stops in Bern and Bandera. Yeah, Simpson's longtime friend and business partner, James Valle-Cotter, or Valley, I don't know how he pronounces it, is also facing felony charges. Officers say Cotter concealed a missing AK-47 of Simpson's in a hollowed-out section of his wall. Not suspicious at all. So, looks like February is what we're looking at in the trial against Brad Simpson, which, will be an interesting thing indeed. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see if there's anything that you guys are saying about this case. It doesn't look like it, but Edie Psycho, welcome to Fanatic. Thank you very much for joining tonight. So guys, I mean, that's what I got for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining. I am going to try to do more of these, kind of catch up on cases that we have been following as we get, as we move along. My hope is to be able to get documents on these things and get deeper dives into the cases, but we really just need to catch up on these three cases of husbands who are accused of killing their wives and disposing of their bodies. Only one of the three that we talked about tonight has been found, and that is the body of Suzanne Morphew. Anna Walshe, her body is still missing, and Suzanne Simpson, her body is also still missing. We will keep on this, and hopefully we'll have updates on that soon. One more quick checkaroonie, guys. You can always get a hold of me over on the old website, gavinfish.com. There's always a link down in the description below. If you click on this little icon right here, you can fill out the form and you can get a hold of me. Now, just over the weekend. I'm not going to say names, but I got somebody through my website reached out to me that is, let's say, an interesting person in one of the cases that I'm covering here on the channel. He was not happy with me or the coverage of the case, but it just goes to show you that I get all of these things. I read all of these things. I don't respond to all of them. I try to respond to as many as I can. I did respond to his. I invited him on the show. I haven't heard back from him yet, but you know, that I just sent that a couple hours ago. Maybe he'd be interested in coming on. I don't know. I'd be a fair person. I would be a fair person. But yeah, that's how you reach out to me. Also, don't forget to go check out Crime Cod and hang out with us over in the Fish Tank, which is what we call our group over on Facebook. So do those things. Come join us. Have a good time. With that, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I bid you adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.